Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into the crypto world. It's November 29th, 2024, and as always, things are moving fast, so let's get right into it and see what's been happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a lot going on.
First up, we got to talk about the day XX.
Yeah.
Initially we heard it was like $21 million gone,
Yeah.
but that number, well, it's been going up, hasn't it?
It has. It's closer to 30 million now, mostly because of, meme coin prices. They just fluctuate so much. And what's really crazy is the scale. We're talking over 8,600 Solana wallets connected to the hacker.
Wow, 8,600. I mean, I remember when these hacks were hundreds of wallets, not thousands. It makes you wonder, like, what happened here? Was it some kind of new vulnerability or just like a massive scale operation?
Well, that's what everyone's trying to figure out. It seems like maybe a private key leak was involved, but the details of how they got so many keys, it's still under investigation. It's a good reminder that security is so important in this space.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you think about the people who lost money. Like most folks, they lost less than $10,000. But there's one person who lost over $1 million. It's a real reminder to be careful, to have good security practices.
Absolutely. Knowing how to keep those private keys safe and watching out for scams, it's just essential for anyone who's in crypto. But the good news is Slowmist is still investigating, and they say there's probably more suspicious wallets, on other blockchains too that they'll find.
So the story's not over yet.
Not even close.
Okay, well, let's move on to something a little more positive. Ether's been doing really well lately. It went up almost 8% last week and hit over $3,590.
Yeah, it's been on a tear. And what's really interesting is that it seems to be connected to Ether ETFs. They're actually pulling in more investor money than Bitcoin ETFs. This might be the first time U.S. Ether funds have actually beaten out spot Bitcoin ETFs when it comes to net inflow.
So it's not just the price going up. It seems like investors are like shifting their interest maybe.
Yeah.
Could this be a sign that people are starting to see Ethereum, and especially its DeFi ecosystem, as a long-term thing?
It could be, especially with that legal win for Ethereum's DeFi ecosystem. It gave a lot more regulatory clarity, which always makes investors feel more confident.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And speaking of numbers, Ether ETFs brought in a whopping $224.9 million between November 22nd and 27th. Bitcoin ETFs, only $35.2 million.
That's a huge difference. And it makes you think, what does this say about the future of Bitcoin and Ethereum? I mean, Bitcoin's the original, right? It's known for being a store of value.
Yeah.
But Ethereum, with its platform and that whole DeFi world, it's definitely attracting a lot of attention.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, let's talk about the people who keep Bitcoin running, the miners. They've been putting some serious money into upgrading their infrastructure this year.
Yeah, they have. Publicly traded mining companies have spent something like $3.6 billion on plants, property, equipment upgrades, that kind of thing. Seems like they're pretty committed to Bitcoin, even with all the ups and downs.
Well, why so much investment? What's driving this?
Well, the more miners there are, the harder it gets to mine Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So to stay competitive and make money, they got to keep upgrading their hardware. They need those powerful ASIC units.
So it's like a race to have the most computing power.
Kind of, yeah.
And it's not just their own money they're using for these upgrades, right?
Nope. More and more, they're turning to debt financing to fuel this growth. Like MARA, they put out a 0% convertible note, got some cash, and then used it to buy 6,474 Bitcoins.
Wow, that's a big move. Any other miners making big plays like that?
Oh, yeah. Hive Digital, they bought 6,500 new ASIC units for their place in Paraguay. And then there's Bitfarms. They partnered with Stronghold to host 10,000 mining units in Pennsylvania.
So even though the market's been volatile, these miners are going all in on Bitcoin. Makes you wonder what they see that maybe we don't.
It does, doesn't it? It seems like they really believe in Bitcoin and the technology behind it for the long haul. Welcome back. Ready to jump back into the crypto world?
Yeah, definitely. Before the break, we were talking about how important it is to learn and connect with the community when you're navigating the crypto space. So what are some things our listeners can actually do if they want to learn more and get involved?
Well, like we said, education is always the first step. There's a ton of stuff online. Articles, videos, online courses, you name it. Start with the basics, like what is blockchain technology? How do cryptocurrencies actually work?
Right, the fundamentals.
Yeah.
But it could be kind of overwhelming, right? There's just so much information out there. Any specific places you'd recommend people start?
Oh, yeah. There are some really good websites and online communities that focus on teaching about crypto. Just make sure you find sources that are trustworthy, unbiased, and easy to understand. And don't be afraid to ask questions in online forums and stuff. The crypto community is usually pretty friendly, especially to new people.
That's good to hear. So once you kind of get the basics down, what's the next step?
Well, then you can start looking at different crypto exchanges and wallets. Choosing a good exchange is important, one that's got good security and is easy to use.
Okay, and what about wallets? I feel like there's so many different types.
Yeah, there are a bunch of options, and they all have their pros and cons. Like hardware wallets, they're super secure, but maybe not so convenient if you're doing a lot of transactions. Software wallets are easier to use, but they might be more vulnerable to hackers. It really depends on what you need and how much security you're looking for.
Right, right. And of course, never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Exactly. That's rule number one for any investment, but especially in crypto. It can be a wild ride.
For sure. This all sounds a little intimidating, honestly, especially if you're brand new to crypto. It's like learning a whole new language.
It can feel that way, yeah. But the good thing is you don't have to figure it out all by yourself. There's this whole crypto community out there, and they're really supportive.
Oh, that's great. Where can people find these communities?
Online forums, social media groups, even local meetups. Don't be shy about asking questions, sharing what you're thinking, and learning from other people's experiences.
And the crypto community is pretty diverse and welcoming, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You'll meet all kinds of people, tech people, investors, artists, entrepreneurs, everyone. It's a global thing, you know? It goes way beyond borders and traditional finance.
It's pretty cool to see how crypto is empowering individuals and communities all over the world.
Yeah, it really is. It feels like we're seeing the start of a whole new financial system, and it's exciting to be a part of it.
Definitely. Okay, we've talked a lot about the positive side of crypto today, but it's only fair to acknowledge that there are some challenges and criticisms too. Like, one of the biggest concerns is the environmental impact, especially with Bitcoin mining.
Right, that's a valid point. Bitcoin mining uses a lot of energy, but I think it's important to know that the crypto community is working on ways to make it more sustainable.
So what are they doing to make crypto greener?
Well, more and more mining farms are switching to renewable energy sources, like some are powered by hydroelectricity, solar, or wind, and developers are working on making the mining algorithms more efficient so they don't need as much computing power.
Well, that's good to hear. What about the concerns that crypto could be used for illegal stuff, like money laundering or ransomware attacks?
Yeah, I mean, criminals have definitely tried to use crypto for bad things, just like they do with regular money. But law enforcement is getting better at tracking crypto transactions.
So it's not as easy to hide illegal activity with crypto as some people might think.
Not really. In fact, the way blockchain works, it's actually more transparent than traditional finance, so it can be easier to track the money. And people are building new technologies to make it even harder for criminals to use crypto without getting caught.
Seems like finding that balance between letting crypto innovate and keeping things regulated is really important.
Totally agree. We need to figure out how to use this technology for good while also putting safeguards in place so it's not misused.
It's a tricky balance, but I guess that's true for a lot of new technologies.
Yeah.
Okay, for anyone listening who's still not sure about crypto, what would you say to them?
I'd say be open-minded and take some time to learn about it. Crypto is still developing, so what might seem confusing or risky right now, it could become totally normal and well-regulated in the future. Kind of like the internet, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's easy to forget how new and strange the internet seemed when it first came out.
Exactly. And look at how important it is now. Crypto could be just as transformative.
So stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. The world of crypto is full of surprises, and that's what makes it so exciting. What are some final thoughts you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
Well, I think it's important to remember that even with all the technology and money involved, what really matters about crypto is its potential to give people more control over their finances, make things fairer, and create a world where things are more decentralized.
It's kind of wild to think about everything we've covered today, from those big hacks to the market going up and down, and even like how crypto could change things for the better. Feels like we've seen a little bit of everything that's happening in crypto all in one conversation.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And, you know, thinking about it all, it makes you realize how connected everything is. Like what individuals do and those big market trends, they all kind of play off each other.
Right. Like on one hand, you've got the DXX hack showing how, well, how vulnerable people can be and how important it is to keep your crypto safe.
And then on the other hand, you've got Ether ETFs doing better than Bitcoin, which could mean that investors are really starting to like ethereum and defi. That's a huge trend, but it all comes down to what individual people decide to do with their money.
And then you have the miners putting billions into new equipment. They're definitely in it for the long haul, even with all the ups and downs.
All these things, even though they seem separate, they're all connected. It's like a big puzzle, you know? But it can be hard to keep up with, even when you're paying attention.
Totally. So what does this all mean for the people listening? What are the main things they should take away from all this crypto news?
Well, I think the first thing is you got to stay informed. This is a fast-moving world, and whether it's security, market trends, or understanding those regulations, knowledge is power.
But it's not just about knowing what's happening. Right? You have to be able to think for yourself about it all.
Exactly. That's the second big takeaway. Don't just blindly follow the hype or freak out when things go down. Do your own research, look at things from different angles, and make your own decisions based on what you understand and how much risk you're comfortable with. We've given you some things to think about today, but there's always more to learn.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone. That's where the community comes in. It's a huge part of what makes crypto so special.
Absolutely. There are so many people out there who are passionate about crypto, and they're more than happy to share what they know and help each other out, get involved, ask questions, learn from people who've been around longer. You'll be surprised how much support you can find.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in the tech and the money, but at the end of the day, it's the people that make crypto what it is.
For sure. And as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with one last thought. The future of crypto, it's not decided yet. What happens next depends on what individuals, companies, and governments all over the world decide to do.
So we all have a part to play. What you choose to do matters. What you say matters. And if you get involved, you can help make things better.
So stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. The future of crypto is out there, and you can be a part of shaping it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on this crypto journey today. Until next time, keep learning and keep exploring.